My map of Africa lies in Europe. Here is Russia, and here is France, and we are in the middle. That line is often attributed to Otto von Bismarck, the Iron Chancellor of Germany. It captures his early skepticism toward overseas empire. For most of his career, the Chancellor regarded colonies as expensive distractions from the real task, securing Germany's position within Europe. Yet within just a few years, Germany acquired one of the largest overseas colonial empires of its time. Germany entered the scramble for Africa late, having only become a unified nation-state in 1871. However, when it finally entered the imperial race in the mid-1880s, it expanded with remarkable speed and force. Why did the German Empire enter this race? What happened in their colonies? And how does German rule still reverberate today? Germany's turn to colonialism was not a sudden ideological conversion by Bismarck. Rather, it emerged from a mix of pressure and opportunism. Industrialists, trading firms in Hamburg and Bremen, missionaries and colonial lobby groups all pressed for imperial protection overseas. Bismarck, initially reluctant, realized that recognizing protectorates claimed by private adventurers could provide diplomatic leverage in negotiations with Britain and France, while also appealing to nationalist opinion at home. Colonies were therefore tolerated as political tools rather than embraced as economic necessities. Only later, under Kaiser Wilhelm II, would the language of Weltpolitik and German place in the sun become central to imperial ideology. Between 1884 and 1885, Germany moved quickly. In West Africa, Imperial Commissioner Gustav Nachtigall concluded treaties with local rulers, often under unequal or poorly understood conditions, and raised German flags before rival powers could intervene. In East Africa, Karl Peters claimed vast territories through similarly coercive agreements, claims that were later accepted under the rules established at the Berlin Conference. Germany initially ruled these territories through chartered companies, but repeated uprisings and financial failures soon forced the imperial government to assume direct control during the late 1880s and 1890s. Germany's African colonies included Togoland, Cameroon, German Southwest Africa, German East Africa. German colonial administration developed a reputation for militarization and harsh discipline. Its economic model emphasized the rapid extraction of labor and resources, sometimes described in German historiography as Raubwirtschaft, plunder economy. In colonies such as Cameroon and German East Africa, private chartered companies initially wielded extensive authority, including policing and taxation powers. These arrangements soon proved ineffective and abusive, and by 1890s, the German state assumed more direct control. Forced labor, taxation in cash, and compulsory crop production pushed local populations into a collective economy, particularly for rubber and ivory. Traditional agriculture was disrupted, and ecological damage followed. In German Southwest Africa, the situation was especially violent. Even before diamonds were discovered in 1908, large-scale land seizures transformed the colony into a settler society. German colonists used expropriation, debt manipulation, and legal discrimination to dispossess the indigenous Herero and Nama peoples, forcing many into economic dependency or wage labor. Resistance to German rule was constant across the empire. The most extreme episode occurred in Southwest Africa in 1904. After their defeat at the Battle of Waterberg, many Herero fled into the Oaxaca desert. General Otto von Bismarck then issued the Vernichtungsbefehl, extermination order, declaring that the Herero would be expelled from the colony and that those found inside its borders would be shot. German forces sealed access to water sources and prevented the Herero from returning. Survivors were captured and placed in concentration camps such as Shark Island and Swakopmund, where forced labor, disease, starvation, and abuse were widespread. Human remains were even shipped to Germany for racial anthropological study. By the end of the campaign, roughly 60 to 80% of the Herero population had died. Roughly 35 to 50% of the Nama population had died. In May 2021, the German Foreign Office issued a press release in which the events in Namibia between 1904 and 1908 were officially recognized as a genocide. In German East Africa, the Maji-Maji rebellion brought a similarly devastating response. German forces destroyed crops and villages to deny supplies to insurgents. The resulting famine killed approximately 200,000 to 300,000 people, mostly civilians. It's now classified as a catastrophic counterinsurgency campaign rather than a planned extermination, but its human toll was immense. Germany's African empire ended almost as abruptly as it began. When World War I broke out in 1914, Allied forces moved quickly to seize German colonies. Most fell within months. In East Africa, however, General Paul von Lettow-Vorbeck conducted a prolonged guerrilla campaign with African askari troops, tying down Allied forces until the war's end. Despite this resistance, Germany lost all its overseas possessions under the Treaty of Versailles in 1919. Although German rule in Africa was short-lived, it illustrates one of the most violent forms European imperial rule could take. Even though these events took place more than a century ago, they still have serious repercussions and affect the way we perceive history today. We will continue to discover the events that made our past and shaped our present. If you liked this episode, please consider subscribing so you don't miss our upcoming videos. If you are interested in any specific historical topics, please also let me know in the comments below, and perhaps yours will be the one that we will discuss in our next episodes. That's all for now. Thank you and take care.